Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Cuphead. Welcome to Inkwell Hell, where we are going to enter the Devil's Casino. We're gonna break Cuphead's primary rule and mess with King Dice. Well, looky here. You actually pulled it off, but you made me lose a bet. And for that, you ain't seen the boss just yet. We're gonna play a little game first. Oh, we got the instrumental version of the theme. So, every one of those red tiles is a boss, and the tiles with a heart will give us a little bit of extra HP. So since we landed on number 3, we face Mr. Weezy, who has one of my favorite animations. Which we'll see in just a second, because this is, like all of the King Dice boss fights. Oh, that one, it's so good! That's such an insanely detailed animation! No joke, that, like, him dissolving into ash to teleport to the other ashtray is, like, my favorite. So this is really simple. All 9 bosses for, all 9 bite-sized bosses for King Dice are like this. They have, single phases and fairly simple patterns. They're, short fights. Mainly so you get worn down, but not too worn down. Oh, and then this one where he stamps him out! So you don't get too worn out before King Dice. But you can also build up this nice buffer of plenty of hearts going into the fight. So we're going to aim for 5 next, and there is a way to time this out, as you saw. It's not randomized or anything, so if you just figure out when to jump, you can always get to where you're aiming to go. And number 5 is Hocus Pocus, the rabbit out of the hat. Smoke Dash really trivializes Hocus Pocus. Otherwise, he's an absolute pain in the ass because these skulls, if they're in a bad diagonal like that, they can be kind of a pain to get through. This is also a little bit tricky, because again, I always find it easier to fall into a parry than jump up into a parry. Like, this is easy when they're coming down and raining on you. It's a lot harder. So, counting the bosses in the dice game, I think this breaks Alien Soldier's Guinness World Record for most bosses in a run and gun, which was 25. And that was one of the original stated goals of Cuphead. I think Cuphead has 28 total, if you count these mini-bosses as discrete fights. Which I get is debatable. There's also some other multi-boss fights, like the Root Pack back in Inkwell Aisle 1, the Phantom Train in Aisle 3, that I wouldn't count, so I guess it depends on if you roll all of these into a single King Dice fight. Because once we get to the end, assuming we don't hit a reset the board, we'll fight King Dice, and he's also a one-phase fight. So this whole thing kind of adds up to be one normal multi-phase boss fight. It's a little tricky how you count that. This dude, what is his name? Mangosteen? He's probably the easiest boss in the game. I do like the Technicolor visual, and then him vomiting out tar or something. Ink. Yeah, let's go with ink. Everything's Inkwell. And they even give you the odds, like the whole roulette wheel setup. Oh, it's so cool. Now, we want, I guess, 2 2s in a row, so we can land on the save and then the finish, instead of starting over. And, lest you be afraid of missing out on a little bit of content, I will go back after King Dice is beaten, and, I'm so bad at this, and do 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9 as well. So Jesus, I'm gonna use this to get over the last one. I don't know. No, I didn't. I still have a huge buffer of health, but I could screw this up still. See? It's no bueno. I have to hit at least one of these. I'm very, very bad at doing this. There we go. I at least got one sequence of that. So that's the idea. This is the whole King Dice fight, technically. Oh, I did it twice! I never, ever pull that off. Aw, and his gloves look sad. Yeah, so you get to King Dice, and that's actually quite hard, especially after you've been supposedly worn down by the other mini-bosses. But there are tricks to get through them. I think Hocus Pocus is one of the harder ones to fight if you don't have Smoke Dash. None of them, except for maybe Piruletta, are particularly hard otherwise. So number 1 is the Tipsy Trio. Or the Tipsy Troop, that's what they're called. Oh man, the olive and the martini. That's gonna go around spitting projectiles unless we destroy it. The whiskey bottle in the background will just occasionally rain down on wherever you are with alcohol. And then you can take them out one by one. So we've already neutralized one threat, which was the tumbler glass full of whiskey, who was spilling it all over the floor whenever he toppled over. Some martini gone, so we don't have to deal with the olive anymore. Oh, and you can see people fading in and out in the background, the denizens of the casino. The fucking walrus and the Satan, and now there's the ghost horse. Dude, some of these backgrounds are so good. This is number 2. This is Chip's Bet Again. There's a lot of spooky, scary skeleton imagery. This should have been a Halloween game. Chip's Bet Again is the Yellow Devil. That's his whole pattern. He can rearrange himself in a couple of different ways, but again, Smoke Dash really trivializes this one. Otherwise, you just have to be a bit careful about which gap you're looking for. Like, sometimes you'll want to duck, sometimes you'll want to short hop, sometimes you'll want a long jump. Or a combination of them. And all of the skeletons are very impressed. Number 4, the dominoes are not Dippin' Dot. That's the ice cream place. Pippin' Dot. And some of these spikes on the conveyor belt, ooh, that was a little bit close. They come in like short, medium, and I guess long. So it just affects where and when you have to jump. Oh, I forgot this also happens. I think that will occasionally just glide along the floor, which makes the jumping a little bit more complicated. But because of how infrequently he spits those, they look like polyhedral dice out, it's not too much of a threat. You also want to watch not getting carried back too far into the left wall by the conveyor belt, because that is also spiked. So yeah, you get the idea. They're 9 bite-sized bosses.
A great slam and then some.
Number 6 is Fear Lap. We actually saw this dude in the background of the Tipsy Troop boss fight, I think. I think that's him. This is the worst fight in the game by an absolutely gigantic margin. This one sucks. It's terrible. And mostly because of the foreground. The foreground obfuscates everything. And there are other bosses that have foreground elements that occasionally pass over your field of view, or have some, like, layering where if you go to a certain spot in the stage, it obstructs your view. But never like this. Never so infrequently or never does it cover so much of the screen. Number 7, the penultimate one that we haven't seen yet, is Piruletta, who's a roulette wheel and a ballet dancer. I have a really hard time with this, usually, because of stuff like that. She's much quicker than you might think. Luckily, again, Smoke Dash, really good for this fight. Smoke Dash in general is really good. It's just a lot of the time I find it disorienting on the more chaotic fights, but on simple ones like this that just have a few occasionally difficult attacks to get through, it's really ridiculous. So they don't fill the screen up that much. They don't test your attention. Just more like fine dodging. Or reaction times, stuff like that. And 9th and final is Mr. Chimes, who has an absolutely wonderful gimmick. He's One of only 2 that use the biplane for King Dice. So this is partially a memory matching game, and then every time we match 2 cards, well, we get to attack Mr. Chimes. Oh, that was this one. So yeah, and it's a big claw machine too. Like these backgrounds are so lovely, especially ones done in this style, like this kind of matte watercolor style. And then we just have to make sure Mr. Chimes doesn't fucking kill us. Is that here? Yeah. I'm not sure if you can, like, overkill his phases. Like, I don't know if you can over-damage him. Where was the blue one? Was that this corner here? No, that's red. Oh, it was the upper left corner. Bleh. That's speed boost. Oh, you can over-damage him. Nice. I just discovered that. Yeah, that's the MDHR logo. Oh, no! I should have been that close to him. So since this is a fairly long fight, I hate doing Mr. Chimes normally, but just showing him off, it's fine. I want to talk about King Dice's beautiful finger drumming animation. It's just, perfect. Like, next level fluid. Oh my god, is Mr. Chimes gonna kill me? I have to be careful. And like, while you're just watching the dice flip around at the table, you're in no rush, so you can just appreciate him drumming his finger and how many frames of beautiful, gorgeous animation that is. Ah, he died off screen. Oh, and the layering of this background too. I wasn't paying attention to some of the foreground elements in the grab machine. Oh, Jesus, it's so nice and fluid. And that is all 9 King Dice bosses. Oh, I forgot to mention, that's also a reference to Gunstar Heroes. I was talking about Alien Soldier and the Guinness World Record for bosses in a running gun. That's also a Gunstar Heroes reference, like a very explicit one, where in Gunstar Heroes you get to the end and you have to do like a board game kind of mini bosses. It's the same thing there. Even Cuphead and Mugman are like explicit references to Red and Blue from that game. References in their color palettes. Well, look how far you've come. Not only did you bust up my good-for-nothing lackey King Dice, but I see you've got my soul contracts, as agreed. Hand them over and join my team. Welching on me just like all the others, huh? I'll teach you for backing out on a deal. So, this is how we get the good ending of the game. The Elder Kettle did warn us about this. He did foreshadow that there would be a choice and that we should make the right one, which is to not join up with Satan. Oh, that's so good! Dude, the animation in his eye at the very beginning of this fight, that's another one of my favorites. Like, 3 of my favorite animations of the whole game happen, like, back to back to back. Mr. Weezy dissolving into a pile of ash in the ashtray, and him getting stamped out. The devil and his pupil animation, and the King Dice finger drums. So this fight is appropriately really chaotic. I think the devil is one of the hardest fights in the game. This is a precarious spot to be in because I think there's some kind of bug with that attack, where if you're in a certain spot on screen, you just take a hit from like an invisible hitbox. So that's the only bad part about this fight. Also, that's great. More spooky, scary skeletons, because it's Satan, of course. And then this, oh my god, it's amazing looking in the flaming chips. Dude, I have nothing but good things to say about this. Oh, it came out of the good ear. If you let that pink flying bat bomb go, it creates a real headache. We're gonna try to do as much damage as possible with this. Damn, I wasn't paying attention to the axe. It's pretty bad. If you get max damage out of that, that's... Oh, yeah, the radius on that explosion's huge if you don't parry it. If you get max damage out of that spirit, It's like 112 or something versus the 80 something of the regular pea shooter EX. Or, no, not the pea shooter EX. Super Art number 1. It's a significant damage increase, but you have to get like almost all of the hits to land, which is tricky. But again, it pairs really well with that boomerang. Ooh, that's nice. He has like 3 different variants of this flame from the staff attack. I think we've seen almost all of his attacks for this phase, right? Dude, this is a wonderful fight. Plus, we get to start every attempt off with the eye animation. So this game... This game is full of references to a cartoon called Silly Symphonies. And the devil here is one of them. He's a reference to the devil from Hell's Bells, which was a Silly Symphonies short. Also, I'm pretty sure there used to be a bat phase that was a part of this fight. Like, there's screenshots, I think even video, of a bat that looked suspiciously like the devil. But that got cut from the game one way or the other. Ooh, no, not good. And the heart's too high to get the spirit back. Oh, since I was mentioning DPS values, I'll link to, somebody did the math and the science and figured it out. Oh, this EX is so good too, because it always tries to return to you, but you can prevent it. Ah, man. I'll link to that chart in the description, the DPS chart that somebody laid out for all the weapons and supers.
This match will get red hot. Here goes.
I hope I only get one staff attack. Those are like by far the hardest things to dodge in this phase. It's where I keep taking damage. Okay, this probably means I'm only getting one staff, right? Go into your skeleton form. Yeah! Jesus, that's so good. I cannot believe how good that looks. And that's not like 3D animation or some kind of like digital trickery. Like the glassy look in the eye, that alone, like, fuck, this is amazing looking. And then when he reuses, like, I can't believe that that's all hand drawn. Ooh! God. Fuck. Of course. It was too reckless with that. Okay. Boomerang's really good for this part as well. Man, this weapon's MVP. I think this means we're on the last phase now. Yeah, okay. So he goes down to a singular platform. He starts crying tears of blood from either side, which you have to watch out for, and then just, like, loop your way back onto the platform as these flaming chips fall. This is an easy part of the fight. Especially if you get here with a little bit of health. Ooh, that took me a little bit longer than I thought it would. But yeah, like I said, the devil is, he's tough. He's tough as hell. Oh, I didn't get full parry bonus for that either. Still A- on the devil. That's great. The brothers triumphed over the demon, forcing him to finally give up. We shall accept your surrender, devil, Cuphead laughed. But we're not done just yet. Yeah, drag him! And with that, Cuphead and Mugman destroyed all of the soul contracts, releasing Inkwell Isle's residents from eternal servitude to the devil. Gosh, I can't wait to tell everybody, Cuphead said. Oh wait, that's my Mugman voice, the voice that off Rome at top speed. Come on, last one there is Leaky Cup Mugman teased as they ran. No, I got them mixed up. Once done, the brothers gathered everyone together. You're all free from the devil's debt, Cuphead announced, and that fiend won't bother us again, Mugman added. And it's all the bosses we freed. Most of them anyway. A few absentees. Eldercut was literally brimming with pride at as everyone began to cheer. Let's hear it for Cuphead and Mugman. Hip hip hurrah! Hip hip hurrah! Yeah, as an all-day celebration began, the brothers promised to never wander into trouble again, and they didn't. Until the next time, of course, but that's another story. Maybe for DLC or Cuphead 2, please. Oh, God, this game. Y'all, I love this so much. But we're not quite done just yet. Our sincere appreciation to the members of our team whose loyalty and creative endeavor made possible this production. The Brothers Moldenhauer. We got one more thing to see real quick. We're gonna do this one more time. Except, well, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna join his team. You're mine now, and we're gonna have a hell of a time down here. This is just for the bad ending. And then we'll get some proper credits rolling. Killscreen had a really lovely description of this game's visual style. They called it milky watercolor psychedelia. And that's because it's subversive and it's surreal. Because the cartoons of the 30s, it was like the Wild West of animation before the then recently introduced Hays Code started being enforced and imposing moral guidelines on the content of cartoons. The 30s was like the last bastion of these really wild, sometimes disturbing, but creatively mind-blowing cartoons. And the Hays Code, it was the Motion Picture Association's set of codified moral principles that sanitized the cartoons in the following eras and kind of tamed that wild creative freedom. So Cuphead's visual style isn't just the grain and the color bleed and the black and white mode and all that, or like these sorts of old-timey, budget-constrained animation loops or the imperfections, like some of the unclean lines or characters regularly going off-model to make things more lively, more kinetic. That all gives it an air of authenticity, but it's tapping into that untamed surrealism that makes up Cuphead's visual soul. And that's what I appreciate the most about this style. Not just that it's lovely on the eyes, but it's a creative explosion. And it's given rise to such an amazing community. People playing this on CRTs and black and white TVs for the true experience. All the fan art that's popped up around this. Oh, man. And they tried to do something like Cuphead in 2000, remember I was saying? And they had to call it quits, and then they got their second chance, and they went all in. They quit their jobs, they remortgaged their houses, and they bet it all on their creative vision, and it's paid off. I couldn't be happier. It's sold over 1 million copies at this point. Could not be happier for StudioMDHR's success. Also, shoutouts to the Moldenhauer parents for kickstarting all of this by buying them like old cartoons from the 30s from bargain bins in VHS stores. That's like a huge part of where the creative spark for this game even came from. We might not have Cuphead without that. So that is going to be 100% of the game. We're not quite done yet. New Game Plus, once you beat the devil the first time, unlocks Expert Mode with vastly more aggressive bosses and a new rank that you can achieve, which is S rank on every fight. And S ranking all of the bosses, it gives you 200% completion. So as if there wasn't reason enough to already pick this up, you can also play through it and you can go for that 200%, because as for this LP, we are done, sadly, bittersweetly. I want more. I would love for there to be more, and I hope there is eventually more. But until then, that's going to be it for Cuphead. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you liked this video series, because that is always helpful. But this has been a super good time. I love the shit out of Cuphead. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, y'all.